What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is In Season with Casper. Hope y'all are doing well. Now that the Olympics are over, it's time to transition. So let's go ahead and jump into the NFL as the season is getting ready to kick off. We just had a round of preseason games this past weekend. Of course, we have another round coming up this week. But I just want to go ahead and jump into the three things that I'm looking forward to this NFL season. Now, these aren't like the only things that I'm looking forward to this season. There are several things, but this is just some of the things off the top of my head that I think I'm interested in seeing this year. So, starting off with the first thing, and of course, I'm a Texans fan, so I'm going to stick with my team. How will the Texans look this year is the first thing that I'm looking forward to. And this one, honestly, is probably like at the top of my list just because it's my team that I support, so I'm just curious. But more importantly, not only how will the Texans look, but will CJ Stroud hit a sophomore slump this year? And it's going to be very interesting. Of course, y'all know last year CJ Stroud took the league by storm. Even I was surprised watching him play as a Texans fan, but he had arguably one of the best rookie QB seasons ever. And if he had not gotten his concussion and missed, I think, 2 or 3 games last season, he probably would have had one of the best rookie QB years ever. But there are some factors going into why I think he could avoid a sophomore slump. First thing being, most of his coaching staff is returning this year, if not all the coaching staff is returning. Of course, you have DeMeco Ryans back at head coach, and then you have Bobby Slowick back as his OC. So that's already some continuity with the program already right there, which will be good for CJ going into his sophomore year. He'll have the same system that he had last year, so he'll just be able to improve on it and continue on from there. Now, the next reason I think he could avoid a sophomore slump being we added 2 new weapons this year. Now, of course, we did lose a running back, but we ended up getting Joe Mixon. And then, of course, we added Stephon Diggs this year. So the wide receiver core is going to be nasty. You got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and then Stephon Diggs. It's a 3-headed monster. And honestly, you have 2 number 1 receivers for sure. Tank Dell could make his way up to being a number 1. But how will teams defend 3 really good wide receivers? Of course, you throw in Dalton Schultz. We just drafted Cade Stover. So you just have a loaded offense, and you're going to have the defense will have to figure out how to stop it, which will only bode well for CJ Stroud and having a better year than what he had the previous year before. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of factors, like I said, that I think will help him not have a sophomore slump this year. Now, the next thing that I'm looking forward to this year is the return of Aaron Rodgers. Now, of course, last season he finally left the Packers. He ended up on the Jets. The return was, or not even the return, but just the move was hyped up. Everybody was ready to see how Aaron Rodgers and the Jets would do. And the Jets honestly had a lot of hype going into last season. They had a really good team. And then literally, as y'all know, a couple plays into the first game, he ruptures his Achilles and he is out for the season. Of course, they tried to get him back for playoffs, but the Jets ultimately did not make the playoffs. So I'm curious to see how he will do after not only sitting out a whole season, but the age that he's at. I believe he's either 39 or he's pushing 40. Like, he's up there in age right now, which of course being a quarterback is not terrible, but after his body being out 1 whole season, how will he adjust to coming back this year? Now, the Jets are hoping to have him play the final preseason game against the Giants and get him a couple snaps. But it'll be interesting to see just how he transitions into this season and how well he will play. Now, Aaron Rodgers has mentioned playing like 3 or 4 more seasons, so it's obvious that he wants to continue playing the game. But how well will his body react to everything going on, playing a full NFL season? And just how will he gel with his teammates, getting things going with the Jets? Because, of course, last year he just missed a whole lot of time. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, he has been practicing with the team, of course, over the past season and everything. But just how will he adjust? How will things play out for the Jets this year? Like I mentioned, they have a really good team. Of course, Hassan Reddick just requested a trade today. But there are factors going in that could help with Aaron Rodgers and his overall return. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm just curious to see if he'll be rusty or will things just flow smoothly for him. Now, the last thing that I'm going to mention in this video that I'm looking forward to is the new kickoff rule. Now, I'm very curious to see how this will be. And this kickoff rules basically right now is on a 1-season trial run, which is cool. We'll get an opportunity to see how it plays out during the season, and then they'll determine if they want to keep it or not. But it's very different, and I'm not gonna lie. I watched part of the Texans Hall of Fame game, and then I watched majority of the last game the Texans played against the Steelers. But I missed it in the Hall of Fame game. But the game against the Steelers, I actually did see the kickoff for the first time, and I was like, what is going on? And I remembered they had the new rule, and I'll put up a picture of basically what is going on the field with this new rule. But basically, you have the players on both teams lining up on the returning team side of the field. The kickers on the opposite side on the 35-yard line to kick off the ball. And then you have this thing called the landing zone. So basically, if the ball lands before the landing zone, then it basically counts as a kick out of bounds and is moved up to, I believe, the 40. If it lands in the landing zone, then you have to return it. And then there's some other rules and stipulations amongst with the landing zone and going past the landing zone. If y'all need a separate video on that kickoff, let me know and I can make one and just give y'all the details on it. But I'm curious to see how well this will work. Now, of course, the NFL is coming off its lowest kickoff return rate this past season. So will this new kickoff rule implement more returns this year, or will we still see kind of like just a lack of returns this year? I feel like because they have this landing zone and they're kind of forcing you to return, we'll see a lot more returns. But then also it kind of raises the question of will we see more returning touchdowns, or what exactly will happen? I don't know, but I'm just curious to see how things play out with it, how well it'll work, or if it doesn't work, and then the NFL have to kind of figure out what they'll want to do next to implement more returns in the game, and so there aren't as many touchbacks or people just downing the ball inside like the 20-yard line. But those are the three things that I'm looking forward to this NFL season. Let me know what y'all are looking forward to in the comments. Like I mentioned, there's a lot that's going to be going on this season. I'm curious to see what everybody else has to say. Of course, let's have some conversation in the comments. But I do appreciate y'all for stopping in, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.